I am here to declare that what we are seeing is the opposite of the gospel. And so we're going to open up declaring what God's gospel truly is as we stand up and fight for it. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the movement of your spirit. We thank you for your children you have gathered here today. God, we thank you for the reminders in the scripture that we're supposed to suffer the little children, not make children suffer. God, we thank you for the reminder that you declared that the captives shall be free, not to go capture our neighbors. God, we thank you for the reminder that your gospel is one of love. It is one of liberation. It is one of wholeness. And that it is our privilege and duty to create it and fight for it. God, I'm reminded that after Jesus was strung up on the cross, it was his family and community that went to look for him in the tomb. And we only have a gospel because people showed up to find Jesus. And so today we are showing up to find Sister Marie. Where is Rosemarie? She should not be detained today. She should not be being sent to be deported. And so our community is standing up today to call out this evil system, the same system that is terrorizing families, the same system that crucified my Jesus. We are calling it out. We're declaring it unholy, and we are standing up in the name of all that is beautiful and living in this world, and we are starting today with the Warris family and declaring that we will continue to stand, we will continue to march, we will continue to pray. We thank you for all the affirmation. We thank you for all the strength and power and glory that you give us, and we will give it back to you as we fight for your freedom, for your mercy, for your glory, and for your liberation in this world. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
What do we want, Rosemarie? When do we want her?
Now.
What do we want?
Rosemarie.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do you want?
Rosemarie.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Rosemarie.
When do we want her?
Now.
When do we need her?
Now.
When do our children need her?
Now.
When do our children need her?
Now.
When does our community need her?
Now.
Felipe.
Hello, everybody. I'm Felipe Sosa Lazaba. Closer? Closer? Okay. Can you
Behind the mic.
come here?
Come up to the front.
Yes,
so
yes,
you're
yes.
next to every person that is.
There you go. There you go. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. I'm Felipe Sosa Lazabale, and I am the Hope Community Center Executive Director. And I'm speaking on behalf of the Immigrants at Welcome Here Coalition. We are here today because something deeply important is at stake. The right to due process. The foundation of any fair and just legal system. We are here on behalf of the Juarez family. But we also know that their situation represents many others facing the same broken system. What are we asking for is simple, and it is lawful. A stay of deportation so this family can have a full and fair chance to present their case. I want to say that one more time. What we are asking is lawful. We're asking for due process so this family can have a fair chance in front of a judge. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking that due process is respected. We must also name the broader system that makes this situation more common. In this region, we've seen the dangerous blending of immigration enforcement with local law enforcement, even though local agencies are not required by law to collaborate with ICE. At the state level, we're asking resources diverted to do the work of federal immigration enforcement instead of meeting the urgent needs of Floridians, affordable housing, healthcare, education, and economic relief. The priorities are upside down, and families like the Juarez families are caught in the consequences. For so many in our community, from Cuba, Venezuela, Haiti, Nicaragua, and other nations, parole programs were offered as a promise of safety. But now, even those who sought refuge under these programs face the threat of deportation and removal. This is not only tearing apart families, it's destabilizing our community, disrupting our workforce, and undermining trust in our institutions. And at the county level, we continue to see due process violations in the jail system, where people are often funneled into ICE custody without full transparency or protections. When local systems fail to safeguard basic rights, the consequences are devastating. And we're seeing here today with the Juarez family. We're not here to assign blame or to provoke retaliation. We are here because we believe that the government has the opportunity to get this right. ICE has discretion, and we're asking that they exercise it now with compassion and respect of due process. This is not about politics. This is about people. Families like the Juarez family deserves dignity. They deserve a chance. And we believe that our laws and the people who enforce them should reflect a basic value. Thank you. La lucha sigue.
¡Sí se puede!
Okay. Lo voy a decir en español. Un resumen. I'm going to summarize it in Spanish. Estamos aquí hoy porque estamos con nuestra comunidad siempre. Hoy estamos aquí a favor del caso de la familia Juárez, que es una familia que necesita tener su día en frente a un juez, que es su derecho constitucional en este país. Esto no está solamente pasando a esta familia, está pasando por muchas personas en nuestra comunidad. También hoy tenemos que hablar de nuestros compañeros que son de Cuba, que son de Haití, de Nicaragua, de Venezuela, que perdieron su parole humanitario, que fue un programa creado para que ellos pudieran encontrar refugio en este país y ahora encuentra odio. Eso no es el país que nosotros venimos a vivir y luchamos todos los días para seguir adelante. No estamos pidiendo una diferente manera que nos trate con respeto conforme las leyes constitucionales de este país. La familia Juárez necesita tener su día en el juicio y eso no va a pasar si su familia es deportada. Eso es su derecho constitucional y vamos a seguir luchando hasta el fin. Muchísimas gracias.
¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
Beverly? Juarez?
Hi everyone, my name is Beverly Juarez, and this is what happened to my family. My mom and my dad are Guatemalans who have been together for over 20 years, and as everyone knows, they did illegally enter the country over 20 years ago, and due to fear, they missed a court hearing decades ago, and as a result, they were ordered removed. And over the years, my family overcame that fear, and my dad sought to do things the right and the lawful way. And in 2010, he began his case with ICE. They both began their case with ICE. And slowly and surely, they were able to jump through obstacles and jump through all types of barriers, language barriers, racial barriers, I'm sorry, I'm overwhelmed.
You're doing great.
Slowly they were able to build up a life for their kids, a future. They were able to have a community behind them in the business. You know, they were able to own a home, and they were able to achieve what we know as the American dream. And over the years, my parents have complied every single time. I think I've said this many times. I remember growing up and going to their appointments with them, and You know, they never hid, they never ran away. And up until last year, we were able to receive another year granted to us by this ICE office to have our to be able to apply for the U visa application because my father was a victim of a crime assault in 2021 that unfortunately my brothers were able to witness, and they were able to see my father get thrown to the ground by 6 masked gunmen who snuck into my father's property where we kept the machinery and equipment for work. And my father had his life threatened, and he was thrown to the ground. He was hit on the head with a gun, and when he was on the ground, he tried to get back up to go see the kids, and they pushed him back down and threatened to shoot him in the head. And they shot at the ground, and one of the casings grazed his skin, and he had a big old bump on the back of his head for a while. So sadly, the kids were in the car and they were able to see everything, and by then they thought that my father was gone, and so they hid behind the seats, and one of the men was able to come inside and look for valuables, but fortunately they didn't see the kids. So after that, there was a lot of fear in our house. They were scared of leaving the house. They were scared to be in the house because they had stolen the wallets and they knew our address. And that was the basis of the U visa, which is a visa granted for victims of assault crimes, people who have crimes committed against them and who have complied with law enforcement. And that is exactly what my father did. And so I reiterate, we came here last year at a regular check-in, and they were granted one more year to be able to process this paperwork to the best of my knowledge. And over the span of this year, they were able to acquire a bona fide determination on their U visa application. And under that determination, they get something called deferred action, which means that they can defer their deportation, but it is under the officer's discretion. And so what that means is that the officer can use their discretion in a favorable way and grant them extra time to wait for that visa to come in, or they can just say, we're going to deport you because we don't think that you should stay because you don't have these qualifications. And on that note, my father owned a business. He's a father of 4. I go to college. My father pays his taxes. He doesn't commit any crimes. And what doesn't make sense to me is that the officer had the chance to use her discretion in a favorable way, and she didn't. And we don't understand the reasoning why, when the only thing separating him from being an American and from being, you know, a hardworking person is just his status. And so what we want to say is the country right now has a chance to right this wrong, especially after the president yesterday said that they were considering not stopping the deportations for people who have been here for over 20 years. And he specifically mentioned agriculture, people in agriculture and people in hotels. And I'm here to tell you that my father is not in those fields, but he's been here over 20 years, and he's been working out under the sun, making concrete slabs, and he's been able to build this business for the last 20 years. And so there is a chance for the president to right this wrong, to bring back my father, and to stop my mother's deportation, because they are not criminals. They are pillars of the community. Thank you.
Do what's right.
Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right.
Decir algo en español. Bien breve, necesitamos.
Can you do just like
Oh,
30
summary.
seconds
Yeah,
en
yeah, yeah.
español?
Okay.
Okay. Súper breve.
Okay.
Y porque después vas a ser disponible con ellos.
Sí, okay.
And then she can do one.
Okay.
Like
Ok, hola, me llamo Beverly Juárez. Voy a decir algo pequeño, breve de lo que dije en inglés. Solo quería decir que mis padres han estado aquí más de 20 años. Ellos son trabajadores. Mi papá tiene un negocio y él es un pilar de la comunidad. El presidente ha dicho que él quiere parar las deportaciones para las personas que han estado aquí décadas, que han trabajado en agricultura y hoteles. Y hoy yo les vengo a decir que mi papá no ha trabajado en eso, pero él ha trabajado bajo el sol, haciendo concreto, y él ha trabajado por los 20 años que ya pasaron. Él no es un criminal y esto es una oportunidad para el presidente para cambiar lo que ha pasado y regresar a nuestro padre y parar la deportación de mi mamá. Muchas gracias.
Do what's right.
Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right.
Representative Escamani. Párate, asegúrate que estás al lado de ella.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Anavi Escamani, proudly serving District 42 in the Florida Legislature. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we have some amazing elected officials who are here. And if you are an elected official, could you approach the microphone with me? Because I want to make sure folks see who is here. Yes, Beverly too. I want to show this united front of support because right now we're seeing dangerous rhetoric from politicians around the country that are anti-American, that are intentionally inflammatory, and are demonizing hard-working people across our country. People who are not criminals, people who are contributing to our economy, who are paying taxes, who are helping our economies thrive, especially in a state like Florida, where agriculture, tourism, and construction are three of our largest economies. And it is immigrants who are building these economies every single day. And so I know there is constant hateful rhetoric coming from politicians. You will not see that from us. And I want to emphasize that we are not afraid to stand with our immigrant community members. Many of us are daughters of immigrants, myself included. And I also want to emphasize that we stand in opposition to the militarization of law enforcement, to the lack of due process in the context of immigration law. We are already living in a world with a broken immigration system, period. I hear this rhetoric all the time. Take the right way. Do it the right way. I hate to break it to the American people, but there is no right way in this country that works. In fact, Beverly just described how her mom and her dad have been trying to do things the right way by following what ICE is telling them to do, by showing up to their appointments. Now we have situations around this country where officers are dismissing cases while agents wait outside masked to detain and deport them. Shame on this country. This will be a dark moment in our nation's history. And if you think it doesn't impact you, think again. Because if you care about affordability, guess what? It is our immigrant laborers every single day who keep products cheap, who do work with very little gratitude and very low pay. And I also want to push back on what I've seen as over compliance by local governments and law enforcement agencies across this state. You have state representatives here who have been fighting these bills for years in Tallahassee. I can tell you quite clearly that there is no requirement for local law enforcement agencies to join ICE, period. Now, of course, there's bullying by the DeSantis administration, there's bullying by Trump, but there is no requirement to do that. And by the way, if you are going to sign on with a 287G task force agreement, you only have to train one officer to be compliant. You do not have to train your full force, 10% of your force. I'm not here for the misinformation. And as partners in the press, you have to provide that clarity. Because what we're seeing now is an over-compliance for the thought that if we over-comply, we'll be safe. No one is safe. No one is safe. This is not the time for respectability politics. This is not the time for us to go along, get along with fascists. We need to hold the line as a community and protect the people who add so much to Central Florida. And so, of course, we are here today to demand that this crisis be addressed, that Beverly's family be reunited. Right now, President Trump, if he wanted to, has the power to bring her dad back, to bring thousands of people back, and to stop the deportation of her mom. And so we stand solidarity with Beverly and her siblings, with all of our immigrant communities. And I just want to emphasize the importance for elected officials to break the stigma, to share the impactful work of immigrants in our society. Because there has been a weaponization of isolated incidents of criminality. And we do not excuse that. All criminal actors who are especially violent should be held accountable.
Period.
Beverly's parents are not violent. Beverly's parents are not criminals. And as a reminder, if you don't have regulated status in this country, it is a civil offense, not a criminal offense. And I don't see other individuals with civil offenses being detained or deported in this country. So let's have equal application of the law. Just because you have a complexion like mine does not mean you should be treated differently in this country. Period. And so I thank you for being a part of this. And I'm going to pass it over to our next speaker. Thank you. Please welcome the Farm Workers Association of Florida, Renee, for his remarks. Thank you.
Officials if you want.
Good morning. My name's Renee Gomez from the Farm Workers Association of Florida. We're from the city of Apopka, the same city where the Juarez family has to deal with what they've been dealing with. It seems like right now the whole world is talking about immigration. When you look at social media, you see some supporters like you see behind me today. But you also see some people that say, you know, I feel bad for these families, but they came here illegally. They need to go back where they came from, and they need to do it the right way. When I see this, you know, sometimes us as immigrants, as undocumented immigrants, they take our humanity away. They don't even refer to us as people. They refer to us as illegals. Can you look into the eyes of someone like the Juarez family, somebody who's been dealing with this, and say that you're not human, that you're an illegal, you're an undocumented? And it's interesting to see that people hold us to such a higher standards than they hold some elected officials, right? They broke a law. This is civil, this is not criminal. Unfortunately, what's been happening to the Juarez family has happened to many people. People with workers' permits, people with residency. It's happened to a 70-year-old grandma 2 weeks ago who had to spend the weekend in jail to help her child. It happened to a father who has been here for more than 20 years who literally built a hospital here in this community. What I want to ask, one, if you're an elected official, I want you to remember that your duty is to the people. Your duty is not to remain in power. Your duty is not to get reelected. It's not to listen to what governor says. It's to protect your people. I want to ask, if you're a Border Patrol agent, ICE, DHS, and even a state trooper now, I ask you to quit. Because if you want to protect your community and you're seeing this happen before your eyes, you know it's wrong. So what you can do is quit and speak out. If you're in the religious sector, if you're a pastor, a priest, a bishop, especially if you're pro-life, you can't be pro-life and anti-immigrant. Okay? I want you to use your voice as loud as you did last year during the amendments when abortion was on the ballot, and you were preaching about that. Because immigrants, they go to your church, they're your members. And if we're all family and our lives are precious as you say they are, speak out. And lastly, if you're a parent or community member and you voted for these policies and now you're having a second thought that, whoa, maybe I unfortunately misunderstood, there's still time to use your voice. Speak out, because you're going to be on the wrong side of history if you don't. Thank you. ¿Quieren algo en español? ¿Está bien? Sí? Okay.
Right here.
Mi nombre es René Gómez. Yo soy parte de la Asociación Campesina, el coordinador de participación cívica. Lo que yo quería decir es que ahorita en el mundo estamos hablando de inmigración. Nosotros somos de Apopka, la misma ciudad de donde está la familia Juárez, y vemos que hay gente que sí nos apoya, pero también hay gente que dice pues estos ilegales vinieron aquí sin papeles y deben de regresar a su país. Diciendo eso nos quita la humanidad, nos quita ser humanos, nos quita el privilegio, el derecho de ser papás, de mamás, de trabajar en este país. Okay. Hemos visto que, como la misma situación que pasó a la familia Juárez, ha pasado a muchos. Ha pasado a gente que tiene permiso de trabajo, ha pasado a gente que tiene licencia, que son residentes. A veces los ciudadanos los arrestan. So, lo que queremos pedir hoy, si ustedes son un político, si son alcalde, que usen su voz. Su responsabilidad es para la gente, es para el pueblo, no es para el gobernador, ¿ok? Su responsabilidad es para el pueblo. También si ustedes son un obispo, un pastor, protegen de su gente, ¿ok? La misma manera que ustedes están protegiendo el aborto y que son para la vida de inmigrante importa, nosotros importamos. Si son agentes de inmigración, del State Trooper, del Departamento de Homeland Security y quieren ayudar, les digo que renuncien, que ayuden a su comunidad. Y si son alguien que ha votado por ese tipo de pólizas y que ahora se están arrepintiendo, quiero que ustedes hablen, que usen su voz en las redes sociales, vayan a una reunión del alcalde de su ciudad y digan algo. Porque cuando pase esto, y va a pasar en este momento de historia, ustedes van a estar en el lado incorrecto. Muchísimas gracias.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. We have some really high-ranking officials, so I'm on a timeline, so I'm jumping ahead. But I just want to say good morning to everybody, and I would like to see just a show of hands from the press and the people behind me. How many of you are 100% Native American? We have one that says she's 100% Native American. I want to tell you, we are all immigrants. So I want to say good morning, immigrants. We are a nation founded on immigration. And immigrants do not run this country, but they make this country run. My grandfather comes from Mexico at the age of 8 with his older brother to work in the fields where they never had the luxury of ever working one job, because they worked in the agricultural industry where they didn't earn enough money. So frequently in my family, we say that one job should be enough. But without the immigrants to pick your food, to clean your dishes in a restaurant, to cook your food, guess what? You lose your labor force that this very local economy in Orange County, Florida depends upon to make us all have a quality of life that we depend upon. So at the Board of County Commissioners, I represent District 5. And I can tell you that our board felt complied with the exception of 2 votes, myself and Commissioner Nicole Wilson. To hold the line on complying.
Hold the line. Hold the line.
We felt that we had to be complicit to a state law that nobody agreed with, nobody felt was a good law, under the threat of being removed from your elected seat. Well, there are those of us who are not afraid to be removed when we're holding the flag of the United States of America and standing with the founders of our country, who are all immigrants. So please stand with us. We have requested trigger resolutions to come to the Board of County Commissions. We have requested it to come back to the agenda. We are fighting a political hill. We need people to stay united, and just as we see as many immigrants who are not from our country, we need to see an American standing with them. We need to see 2 Americans standing with them to fight for the people that make our country run. So thank you for being here today. Please continue to follow, please continue to support, and thank you everybody for fighting for all of us to realize the American dream. Thank you.
Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right. Do what's right.
Good morning. My name is Brian, and I'm here on behalf of Unite Here's Local 737, the Union of Hospitality Workers in Central Florida. We are a union of immigrants. Many of our members come to this country to work hard, to support their families, and to build stronger communities. Central Florida's theme parks, hotels, and the tourism industry run on the labor of the backs of immigrant workers. If you remove people like us, who will keep this economy going? As a union, we fight every day for due process, whether it's for workers facing discipline or when someone's voice is being unheard. That same principle must apply to the Juarez family.
Yep.
They came here to build a life and ended up being victims of a crime, a terrible crime. They're not criminals. And so if we can't defend people like the Juarez family, what does that say about who we are, about who we choose to protect? Standing up for due process means standing up for them and for people like them. Let's show we have the courage to do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Representative Rita Harris. I am proud to represent House District 44 in the Florida House, and we are standing right in the heart of this beautiful district that is built by a community of immigrants. We have so many people here from all over the world. It is definitely the District of Nations. I want to start out by being very clear and saying that defending immigrants is fundamentally the most American thing that we can do. It is not only one of the most American things we can do, it is incumbent of us as elected officials that we do it. As an elected official, each and every one of us, from our county commissioners to our state representatives, to our congresspeople, all the way up to our president, we take a vow to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And that is not a vow that I take lightly. For all of its wrongs, there are so many rights about this country, and those rights, one of them is the right to due process. And this is not a radical idea. When you have Justice Scalia saying that people, immigrants, have the right to due process, we are not radical. We are Americans. We are upholding the very fabric of our democracy, the very fabric that this country is built on. You can't just take people and detain them without giving them a legal process into which they can defend themselves. That is something that I take very seriously. That is the promise that I made to uphold. I also want to say that in this state, we are dealing with a budget crisis. We are dealing with an affordability crisis. And the idea that we are taking $300 million taxpayer dollars to fund the federal government and subsidize them in the form of welfare so that they can do their jobs and do it poorly, by the way, is ludicrous to me. These are funds that could help people here, that could help all Floridians here, regardless of their status. And Floridians of any stripe, of any ideological belief, should be upset by that. Any American right now should be upset by what's going on. This is definitely a time to take your party and set it aside and be an American and be concerned about what is happening in this country. To be scared and to be worried about what is happening in this country. I also want to mention, it was referenced earlier, you know, it's a moral obligation of ourselves too. I'm a mom. I am a mother, and to see a mother separated from her children is something I cannot bear to witness anymore. We are better than that. We are better than this, and I am pleading to do the right thing, make this right. You have the opportunity to set a precedent, to turn around this ship and start doing things the way they are supposed to be done. So I'm imploring those in charge to turn the ship around and do the right thing. It is the American thing. It is a democratic thing, and it is the thing that we must do in this moment. Thank you. Senator Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm Carlos Guillermo Smith, State Senator, District 17. Today, we are all the Juarez family because we are all immigrants. Hoy, todos nosotros somos la familia Juárez. Porque todos nosotros somos inmigrantes. We are fighting back against attacks on our humanity and attacks on the U.S. Constitution. Families are being disappeared. The president has federalized the National Guard against our own residents, and U.S. citizens are being arrested for asking questions.
Shame.
Does that sound to you like the United States of America?
No.
This is not Russia. This is not Nicaragua. This is not Venezuela. This is not Cuba. This is the United States of America, and this should not happen in our country. But it will continue to happen unless we use our voices to fight back against this injustice. And so I don't want to belabor the points that have already been made by so many of these community leaders who are here, but we need to make sure that we free Rosemary. Because if she continues to be detained and is not released and has her due process rights violated, as so many before her have already had violated because of what's happening under this regime and this administration, then we may be next. We just heard yesterday that hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Haiti and Venezuela and Cuba and other countries who have legal status, have had that legal status revoked, and they're being told if they don't return to their home country that they will be deported. This is not right. We're here to speak out, and we will continue to advocate for our immigrant communities. It is the reason why those of us who are state lawmakers serving in the Florida House and Senate opposed these bills that came through during the special legislative session, these bills that deputized our local law enforcement to do the work of the federal government, to use our Florida taxpayer money to violate our constitutional rights to due process, to give them the opportunity to actually begin entering our schools and churches to do immigration enforcement work. And they're going after folks who have committed no crimes. They're going after cooks. They're going after farm workers. They're going after hospitality workers who have done nothing wrong other than to try to provide for their family and to live the American dream. So we stand with those families and that immigrant community in solidarity, because we are all immigrants. We are all the Juarez family, and we will continue to fight this injustice until this stops. Thank you.
Free Rosemary!
Free Rosemary! Free Rosemary! Free Rosemary! Free Rosemary! Free Rosemary!
Thank you. I'm Nicole Wilson. I'm a county commissioner for Orange County District 1. And you've heard a lot today, so I'm not going to reiterate some of these important points. But I think it's really important for the critics of the actions of those of us in an elected position, the critics that say you have to follow the law. I want you to know that we are. That my oath to the Constitution of the United States of America, that I took as a licensed attorney in the state of Florida, that my oath to the United States Constitution that I took as an elected official in Orange County, that those things include inalienable rights, due process rights, the right to ask questions, the right to talk to the media, the right to be able to get counsel. These are all things that don't get just suspended because. And so when Commissioner Semrad and I vehemently opposed the ICE takeover of corrections officials in the Orange County prison, the reason why is because we believe, and I know, that the legal basis for that isn't there. That there is no legal basis for the ability to walk in and remove people's right to due process, to take over a local corrections facility. And listen, if you don't care about anything else that I'm telling you, understand that the people that were keeping you safe at night from actual criminals, not from people that just happen to be born in a different place, are now being completely distracted, arresting folks that just get up every single day and work really hard to make our community better. And so people who tell me, stay in your lane, Wilson, stay in your lane. This is my lane. I get calls every day from families who are being affected. I have businesses that are closing down. I have individuals who say, I can't find my dad, my husband. That is my lane. And if you are affecting the taxpayer of Orange County by taking over the people we hired in our corrections, that is my lane. And I'll continue to fight for our Constitution, and I'll continue to fight for the state Constitution, which also protects due process rights. Those things are not whimsical, taken care of, and off the table because of some special bill that came through in January. Orange County was required to sign an agreement Now let's just say that out loud, folks. Agreement. I'm not an immigration attorney, but I am an attorney. What I know about the word agreement is it requires all parties to agree. I don't agree. We were told we had to do it. Several of my colleagues believed that they had to do it. They've been bullied to do it. What I know is that if I'm not asked the right questions about an agreement, that it's not an agreement. And if I don't believe it's representing my community, then it's not an agreement. So I do not agree. I am not complicit. Orange County Commission will continue to pursue justice and making sure that our residents, the residents of this county, Central Florida, and quite frankly, the world, are welcome here. Thank you so much.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
We're gonna ask Representative Joanna Lopez, who'll do it in Spanish first and a summary in English. And while she comes up, I just want to acknowledge not only the Immigrants Are Welcome Here Coalition, but community partners like Family Support Network, Florida Rising, Reformed Catholic Church, League of Women Voters, 5051, 5051 Latinos, CARE, Engage, and the Florida Immigrants Coalition. Representative Joanna.
Bueno, para los que no me conocen, mi nombre es Joana López, represento el distrito 43, 52% latino, tenemos muchos inmigrantes allí y hemos visto cómo esta persecución innecesaria y falsa e ilegal, porque se están persiguiendo a inmigrantes que realmente tienen documentos. Están yendo a los sitios de construcción a perseguir nuestros inmigrantes. ¿A quiénes están afectando? A los dueños de negocio. Están yendo a los lugares de la agricultura. ¿A quiénes están afectando? A los dueños de la agricultura, no tan solo a los inmigrantes. Esto no es una persecución en contra de los inmigrantes solamente. Esto es una persecución en contra de Estados Unidos, en contra de nuestros principios de la nación norteamericana, de respetar las individualidades y respetar la humanidad. Todos estamos en desacuerdo con la criminalidad. Ciudadanos americanos y ciudadanos no americanos. Todos entendemos que todas las personas que hagan algo que es criminal debe cumplir con eso, ¿no? Con lo que se requiere en la repercusión. Pero hoy yo vengo aquí específicamente para denunciar algo ilegal, y es la retención de Rosemary Juárez. Rosemary no tiene por qué estar ahí, ella tiene una visa U. Y la visa U clarifica que nosotros aquí tenemos que protegerla porque ella se atrevió a hablar para atacar la criminalidad aquí en Florida. Y no tan solo eso, Rosemary Juárez es la mamá de 4 ciudadanos americanos. Estamos atacando no tan solo a una persona que tiene la visa U, sino también a ciudadanos americanos que están aportando de una manera sobresaliente aquí en nuestra comunidad. Realmente lo que está ocurriendo hoy es ilegal y por eso estamos aquí. Estamos demandando que nos den nota, que no tan solo saquen a Rosemary, sino que nos expliquen por qué la pusieron ahí. Porque no hay una razón justificada legalmente hablando para que Rosemary se encuentre hoy detenida, apartada de sus hijos. Cuando yo gané esta elección, cuando gané el anterior como miembro de la Junta Escolar, fueron inmigrantes los que movieron mi campaña y muchos arriesgaron sus vidas. Y mi compromiso empieza allí, donde si ellos arriesgaron la vida por mí, yo también voy a arriesgar mi vida por ellos. Es innecesario que nosotros tengamos que estar en una acera donde es algo público, rodeado de policías, cuando ustedes saben que esto es público y podemos hacer esta demostración que estamos haciendo hoy. Hay que velar unos a otros, y realmente un ataque en contra de los inmigrantes es en contra de la economía, es en contra de la seguridad, y queremos demandar que saquen a Rosemary. Está injustamente e ilegalmente detenida en este lugar. Así que vamos a unir nuestras fuerzas, vamos a compartir en las redes sociales, vamos a hacer videos, vamos a compartir esta información para que sepan que Rosemary Juárez está ilegalmente detenida en este lugar. Mrs. Juárez is a brave woman who holds a U visa, has been illegally detained, and as a result is facing separation from her children. Let us be clear, a U visa is not a suggestion. It is a legal protection granted to immigrant survivors of violent crimes who assist law enforcement in the pursuit of justice. That is exactly what Mrs. Juárez did. She followed the rules. She cooperated with authorities and now she's being punished for it. But it gets worse. All of her children are United States citizens. Let that sink in. The country, their country, is now threatening to tear them away from their mother. 3 of them are still minors. Imagine the fear they feel. Imagine the trauma they are enduring. What message are we sending when we criminalize a mother for surviving and seeking justice and in the process traumatize American children? This is not just an act of cruelty. It is a violation of our laws and our values. Mrs. Juarez, detention is illegal. She should not be behind bars. Her children should not be living in fear, and our government should not be tearing apart families, especially when it has no legal basis to do so. We must do better. Let us be considerate of the human cost. Let us be compassionate to our families already traumatized. Let us be fair in how we apply the law. And above all, let's not follow the law by immediately releasing Mrs. Juarez and returning her with her children where she belongs. Thank you. Y si se puede, no se para nadie. Seguimos para adelante.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Real quick, fam, we cannot block the sidewalk, so if folks can kind of spread out more, you can be on the sidewalk, you can't block it fully. And then I want to flag any cars that are parked in the streets may be ticketed now, and so be mindful of that. And then this car that's blocking this gate is also potential at risk, so I just want to flag that.
Para que sepan, nosotros no podemos bloquear el pasillo, entonces si nosotros podemos tener como un espacio, podemos estar en el pasillo, pero no podemos bloquear. Tampoco podemos tener los carros en la calle y el carro que está allí, el otro carro que está allá, si lo pueden también moverlo sería magnífico. Gracias.
Thank you. Representative Levon Bracy Davis, and I know we're wrapping up soon. So Representative Bracy Davis, take it away.
Good morning. Let me just say this. My name is State Representative Levon Bracy Davis. It's a delight to be here. And I just want to serve notice on the president, on the governor, on all of their allies, that we will not be intimidated. Let's be real clear. We will not be intimidated. You will not scare us. As long as there are allies to the immigrant community like myself, I'm actually, believe it or not, speaking right now from a place of privilege, which I don't usually am able to do. But right now, as a Black American, I'm speaking in a place of privilege, and so I'm doing a call to action of all of our allies. Okay. If you have the opportunity to speak in a place of privilege, if you have safety that you can speak from, you need to elevate your voice, and you need to speak out about the injustices that are happening with the immigrant community. So I'm not talking to ICE right now. I'm not talking to Donald Trump right now. I'm not talking to Ron DeSantis right now. I'm talking to my siblings in the struggle. I'm talking to you all out there that know what's going on with this immigrant community. You need to join our efforts. You need to speak out. You need to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You need to support your brother and sister. You need to be your brother and sister's keeper. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for being here. This is absolutely amazing, but especially to Beverly. Beverly, thank you. Okay, no. My name is Linda Coffin, and I'm representing the nonpartisan League of Women Voters in Orange County. We believe that immigration policy should promote reunification of immediate families and that all people should receive fair treatment under the law. According to the Constitution, due process is guaranteed right for every citizen and for non-citizens. Thank you.
Now we're going to have one of our community veterans, Aaron.
Morning. My name is Aaron Lewis. I am a U.S. Army veteran, president of the Family Support Network, a member of Florida Rising, and the proud son of an immigrant whose journey embodies the hope, struggles, and resilience of countless immigrant families. When I was 6 years old, walking the halls of Bonneville Elementary here in Central Florida, my mother was undocumented, working as a healthcare aide, living every day with uncertainty. Her path to citizenship was marked not only by hope and hard work, but by the systemic hurdles that were placed before her. I can vividly recall when immigration officials lost her paperwork, forcing her to restart the entire costly process from scratch through no fault of her own. Despite these setbacks, my mother persevered. She moved from being an undocumented healthcare aide to earning her green card and becoming a certified nursing assistant. Eventually, she proudly raised her right hand to become not just a U.S. citizen, but immediately stepping into public service as a sworn-in deputy at the Seminole County Jail, where she served her community with compassion. Today, she's a sworn probation officer in the state of Maine, an achievement that was made possible because she was afforded due process. This fundamental American promise of due process now hangs in the balance for the Juarez family. Esvin Juarez and Rosemarie Miranda, Central Florida residents of over 2 decades, face imminent deportation despite qualifying for a crime victim U visa. ICE detained Esvin during a routine checkup, and Rosemarie now awaits forced deportation. Their 4 U.S.-born children are pleading for their parents' rights to be respected, and their voices are being echoed across social media and within our community, as you see here today. Policies from the Trump administration, perpetuated by Governor Ron DeSantis' administration, have eroded the principles of fairness, compassion, and due process. Immigration enforcement must never be about fear or division. It must be about justice, transparency, and humanity. Due process allowed my mother to fulfill her American dream, a dream shared by millions. That is the Constitution that I took an oath to defend when I joined the United States Army. And today, we demand that same justice and compassion for Esvin, Rosemarie, and their children. We call on ICE to stop these deportations immediately. We urge the courts to swiftly grant the emergency motion to reopen their case. This isn't just about one family. This is about who we are as a nation. We must unify around the principles that define America: justice, due process, and the fair treatment of every human being. Not every natural-born U.S. citizen, every human being. Let us stand for the Juarez family, for every family, and for the soul of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you for your service. Well, we're concluding right now, but we want to open up for questions. Is there any questions?